Hi, we're talking with Brenda Brown, Public Sector Sales, HP Software, about the Get Credit play. Brenda, if you've won a deal, don't you just move on? Why take the steps to go back and try to understand value?
Assuming you're still going to be working with HP and you're still working with the company, right? You want to be able to get any additional revenues from the account if possible. And certainly if the customer doesn't think that they've gotten value from the solutions, they're certainly not likely to come back to you and buy anything else. So you really need to make sure that you've established the Get Credit play, and we utilize the Get Credit play to do that.
HP coming in to justify an HP purchase is kind of like a fox in the hen house. Why would a customer ever entertain that?
Well, here's the beauty of it, though. It's not HP coming in. It's actually the VMO office is coming in as a third-party independent company to verify and sit down with the champion, go through the criteria that they've looked at and why this would be successful for them or how it's been successful for them. And they will create with the champion what the drivers are, what the validation is, and show them the value of the solution.
How do you run the Get Credit play?
It's actually really simple. You can look at the tool. The tool is very intuitive. You can do it with the tool. The rep can do it themselves and work with their champion to develop the values, look at what they've expended so far from a solution or implemented so far from a solution, how that plays into their business initiatives, what the value of that is from a monetary perspective as well in their organization. So you can do it that way. And if you encounter any skepticism along the way, you can also engage the VMO office as a third-party independent to come in and do it with the champion so that they don't feel like it's HP that's developing these numbers for them, that it's something that it's an outside organization that helps them to build this. But again, the tool is really simple. It's something you can use, a rep can use. As soon as you start using it, you can figure out how to click a button and figure out what you need to do with the tool, with the champion.
I would imagine that timing is pretty important on when to run the Get Credit play. Talk about that.
Well, you know, as a salesperson, you obviously would love to be closing deals all the time, but you have to have something to work on. Once you've closed that deal, you have to build your funnel going forward. So in the process of doing this, you assume you're going to have the same customers going forward, right? So how do you make sure that you can get some additional revenue from them? If they've not recognized the value of what they've gotten so far, it's not very likely that they're going to buy anything else going forward. So from a timing perspective, once the implementation is done or once you've seen some success from the projects, you sit down with your champion. It would be a great time at that point to sit down with the champion. What do you think you've gotten out of this? And then they can take that forward to their key stakeholders. And now they look like a rock star.
Let's dig in a little bit on that. So what are the right situations and account dynamics that we should be thinking about when we run a Get Credit?
I think an ELA would be a good example of this because often you have multi-year enterprise license agreements, right? So when you're looking at that, about midway through that cycle, you know at some point you want them to renew this, or you want them to re-up, you want them to get some additional solutions because they've been successful in what they've been able to do with the CLA. So if you're midway through the cycle, let's say it's a 3-year cycle, you go midway, you sit down with the champion, you develop this, and now they have proof positive, and again, looking like a rock star, going to their stakeholders and saying, look what we've been able to accomplish with this. You can do this at the middle section, so that way you look like, okay, I'm trying to help you understand that you've done a great job in deciding that this is the solution you want to go forward with.
What are the customer deliverables for the Get Credit play?
What you're really going to be able to leave behind for your customer champion is a dashboard that's going to look at the key performance indicators and connect that with the success criteria of that project that they're doing to show in a monetized way what they've been able to achieve. So now they can look like the rock star that they are and take that to their key stakeholders and show their accomplishments and why this was a great decision for them.
Walk me through a real-life example.
There's an example where we had an agency that had an ELA in place, and frankly the CIO didn't feel like they were getting any value from the ELA, or very little value from it, from what they'd spent to get into it. And so it was necessary to kind of look at the projects that had been done or were in play at that point and look at the success criteria for those projects and map them up to their key performance indicators and monetize that so that he could see that, well, you know, this really was a good idea to do this. This really was something that we needed to do. And so much so that they've actually consented to be a keynote speaker at our federal summit.
It strikes me when I listen to you that Get Credit has the opportunity to make sense midway through a relationship where you have the opportunity to make that person look like a rock star. But also, in that last example, where you have somebody that is not happy,
Yes.
and you need to come in and show value and help them turn that story around to see the economic impact that HP has had.
Absolutely. It's a great tool. Again, it can be interactive. You can do it yourself, or you can engage the VMO office to do it. And either way, it's a great asset.
Do other competitors take the time to understand the value? How much, I guess what I'm wondering is how much of this is differentiated from HP?
I think in this particular case, it's unusual for a competitor to come back and say, hey, let's go through the scenario, let's see what they usually walk away. They've done the deal and they're done and they've walked away. The value of doing this, or what would differentiate us here at HP, would be to utilize this to help make sure that your customer has gotten the value, and yes, you're not making money at that point in time, but certainly down the road, it's invaluable for you.